The notification lit up my phone at 2:48 a.m. on a Tuesday. I wasn't supposed to see it. Not then, maybe not ever. But insomnia had me scrolling through work emails when the message preview flashed across the top of my screen. Ethan's iPhone. Can't wait to feel you again tomorrow. Same hotel? My brain stuttered. I blinked at the screen, reading it twice, then 3 times. Ethan, my wife's phone. Our shared Apple family account meant notifications sometimes crossed devices when we were on the same Wi-Fi network, a quirk I'd been meaning to disable for months. I sat up in bed, careful not to disturb Natalie sleeping beside me. Her dark hair spilled across the pillow, face peaceful in the dim glow from my phone. We'd been married 8 years, together for 12. 2 kids asleep down the hall, Emma, 6, and Tyler, 4. The message was still there when I looked again. Not a dream, not a mistake. My hands shook as I opened my own messages, but nothing appeared in my thread with Natalie. This was something else entirely. A message to her phone from someone named Ethan, syncing through our connected devices. I needed to see her phone. Natalie kept it on her nightstand, face down, always. Just a habit, she'd said when I asked about it months ago. I'd thought nothing of it then. Now that simple detail felt like a neon sign I'd been too blind to read. I slipped out of bed, feet silent on the carpet. The hardwood floor in the hallway creaked. It always did near the bathroom, so I moved with the careful precision of someone defusing a bomb. Her phone sat exactly where she left it every night, the rose gold case reflecting the moonlight through our bedroom window. I picked it up. Face ID wouldn't work on me, but I knew her passcode. We'd always known each other's passwords. No secrets, she'd said when we first got serious. That's how you build trust. The irony tasted like battery acid. I typed in the 6 digits, CU81516. Our wedding date. The phone unlocked. 47 unread messages in a thread labeled E, with a generic gray avatar. No photo, no last name, just E. I opened it, and my entire world tilted sideways. The messages went back 4 months. 4 months. E. Your husband suspect anything? Natalie. No, he's clueless. Works late most nights anyway. I worked late because I was trying to make partner at the firm. 70-hour weeks for the past year, grinding through corporate litigation cases so we could afford the house in the good school district, the dance lessons Emma wanted, the future we'd planned together. I scrolled up. The messages got worse. Photos. Nothing explicit. Natalie was smarter than that, but suggestive enough. Her in lingerie I'd never seen. A shot of 2 wine glasses on a hotel nightstand. A selfie of her in a car I didn't recognize. Caption reading, "On my way to you." My chest felt like someone had reached inside and squeezed my heart with a fist. Natalie. Tuesday works. Tell your wife you have that conference. E. Already done. Booked our usual room at the Riverside Inn. The Riverside Inn. I knew that place. Boutique hotel downtown, 20 minutes from our house. I'd driven past it 100 times. Natalie. Can't stop thinking about last week. You make me feel alive again. Alive. Again. As if our marriage, our family, our life together was some kind of death she needed to escape from. I wanted to scream, to throw the phone against the wall, to shake her awake and demand answers. But something colder settled over me instead. A calculating calm I recognized from the courtroom. Evidence first, emotions later. I grabbed my own phone and started photographing everything. Every message. Every photo. Every damning piece of proof that my wife of 8 years was having an affair with someone named E. The timestamps told their own story. Tuesday and Thursday afternoons, always between 1 and 4 p.m. The days she said she had book club. The days she said she was having lunch with her sister. The days I believed her because why wouldn't I? We had 2 beautiful children, a nice home in suburban Connecticut, date nights twice a month, regular intimacy. No fighting, no red flags I could see. Except there were red flags. I just hadn't wanted to look at them. The new gym membership 3 months ago. Getting back in shape, she'd said. The sudden interest in lingerie. Trying to feel sexy again after 2 kids, she'd explained. The phone always face down. The shower immediately after coming home on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The distant look in her eyes during dinner sometimes, like her mind was somewhere else entirely. I'd attributed it all to normal marriage stuff, post-baby body consciousness, healthy self-care, privacy boundaries. I was an idiot. My phone's camera roll filled with screenshots. I worked methodically, lawyer brain taking over. Dates, times, locations. I documented everything, including the contact information for E at the top of the thread. A phone number with a local area code. Then I saw tomorrow's date circled in the message history. E. Same time tomorrow? 1 p.m.? Natalie. Perfect. I'll tell him I'm getting my hair done. Tomorrow was Thursday. In less than 11 hours, my wife planned to meet this man at the Riverside Inn while I sat in my office reviewing depositions, while our kids were at school, while our life continued its normal rotation like nothing was wrong. I looked at her sleeping form in our bed. The woman I'd loved since college, the mother of my children, the person I'd built everything with. She looked peaceful, content. I felt nothing but ice in my veins. I stand in my office, door closed, staring at the phone number I've pulled from Natalie's messages. Wednesday morning, 9:47 a.m. The partners' meeting droned on without me 20 minutes ago. I told them I had an emergency client call. Not entirely a lie. My finger hovers over the screen. Every instinct I've honed over 15 years of litigation screams at me to investigate before confronting. Know your opponent. Understand the battlefield. Never ask a question you don't already know the answer to. I dial. It rings 3 times. Victim Services, this is Ethan speaking. How can I help you? The floor tilts beneath my feet. Hello? The voice is smooth, professional. Is anyone there? I end the call. Victim Services. My wife's lover works at Victim Services. The same Victim Services where Natalie supposedly volunteers twice a week, helping domestic violence survivors navigate the legal system, providing resources and emotional support. The work she's so passionate about. The work that makes her come home with stories about brave women escaping terrible situations, about the importance of witness testimony in putting abusers behind bars. I sit down hard in my desk chair. 4 months ago, Natalie started volunteering there. 4 months ago, she met Ethan. My hands are steady as I open my laptop and navigate to the county website. The Victim Services Division sits under the District Attorney's office. I click through to the staff directory. There he is. Ethan Palmer, Victim Advocate Coordinator. A professional headshot shows a man in his mid-30s, dark hair, strong jawline, confident smile. The kind of smile that probably makes traumatized witnesses feel safe. The kind of smile my wife has been kissing for 4 months. I screenshot his photo, his contact information, his bio. Then I start digging deeper. Public records, court filings, news articles. What I find makes my blood run cold. 3 criminal cases in the past 6 weeks, all domestic violence prosecutions, collapsed because key witnesses recanted their testimony or failed to appear in court. The defendants walked free. In each case, victim services had been involved in supporting the witnesses. I pull up the case files through the court database. My firm doesn't handle criminal work, but I know how to navigate the system. State vs. Rodriguez. The victim, Maria Rodriguez, initially gave a detailed statement about her husband breaking her jaw. 2 weeks before trial, she recanted. Said she'd been confused, that she'd actually fallen. The case was dismissed. State v. Thompson. The victim's teenage daughter witnessed her stepfather's assault. She was scheduled to testify. The day before the hearing, she and her mother left the state. No forwarding address. Case dismissed. State v. Bennett. 3 witnesses saw the defendant beat his girlfriend in a parking lot. All 3 received threatening phone calls. All 3 suddenly developed amnesia about what they'd seen. Case dismissed. I lean back, processing. Then I do something that would get me disbarred if anyone knew. I access Natalie's cloud storage through our shared family account. The same account that betrayed her affair now reveals something worse. There's a folder labeled Book Club Notes. I open it. Inside are dozens of documents. Photos of handwritten notes. Screenshots of text messages. Voice recordings. And spreadsheets. Detailed spreadsheets tracking names, dates, amounts. My stomach turns as I start piecing it together. The Rodriguez case, $15,000. Payment received 3 days after Maria recanted. The Thompson case, $20,000. Payment received the day the mother and daughter disappeared. The Bennett case, $25,000. Payment received after the witnesses changed their stories. Each entry includes notes in Natalie's handwriting. E handled initial contact. Followed up with phone call. Confirmed cooperation. Payment processed through usual channel. There are more cases, so many more. Going back months before the affair even started. This isn't just adultery, this is a criminal enterprise. My wife and her lover are running a witness intimidation service. Defendants pay them to terrify victims and witnesses into silence, and they're doing it from inside the very office meant to protect those victims. I think about all the evenings Natalie came home talking about how rewarding her volunteer work was, how she was really making a difference, how important it was to support survivors through the legal process. She was making a difference, all right, making sure abusers walked free. The nausea hits me in waves, but I push through it. Evidence first. Emotions later. I spend the next 3 hours methodically documenting everything. I download every file from her cloud storage. I cross-reference the cases with public court records. I create a timeline showing the pattern. Witness intimidation followed by case dismissals followed by payments. There are voice recordings. I force myself to listen to one. Natalie's voice, sweet and sympathetic. Maria, I know this is difficult, but you need to understand what testifying will do to your family. Your children need their father. And if you go through with this, there could be complications. People get hurt in situations like this. Witnesses sometimes have accidents. The threat is veiled but unmistakable. Maria's voice, shaking. Are you threatening me? Natalie, still sweet. Of course not. I'm trying to help you see the reality of your situation. Ethan and I just want what's best for you and your kids. The recording ends. I play another one. A man this time, one of the parking lot witnesses from the Bennett case. Ethan's voice, calm and reasonable. Mr. Wilson, you seem like a smart guy. Smart enough to know that getting involved in other people's business can be dangerous, especially when those people have friends. Friends who know where you work, where your daughter goes to school, where your wife shops for groceries every Thursday morning at 9:15. The specificity is chilling. Mr. Wilson. Jesus Christ, are you… Ethan. I'm not doing anything. I'm just making sure you understand the stakes. Testifying is a choice, and choices have consequences. But if you choose to mind your own business, to admit you didn't really see what you thought you saw, well, then everyone stays safe. Everyone goes home to their families. Simple. I close the file. My wife is a monster. And I married her, had children with her, shared a bed with her for 8 years while she destroyed people's lives for money. The affair almost seems quaint by comparison. I check the time. 1:23 p.m. Natalie texted me at noon saying she was heading out to get her hair done, should be back by 4. In reality, she's at the Riverside Inn with Ethan right now, probably celebrating their latest payday. According to the spreadsheet, they just received $30,000 for making a witness in an attempted murder case disappear. My hands shake as I compile everything into a single encrypted folder. Screenshots, recordings, financial records, case timelines. Everything. Then I make a call. District Attorney's Office, how may I direct your call? I need to speak with someone about corruption in the Victim Services Division. Someone high up. Someone who can be trusted. There's a pause. Can I ask what this is regarding? Systematic witness intimidation. Multiple criminal cases. I have evidence. Another pause, longer this time. Please hold. 2 minutes pass. Then a man's voice, sharp and alert. This is Deputy District Attorney James Brennan. Who am I speaking with? I take a breath. Once I do this, there's no going back. My name is David Mitchell. I'm an attorney with Crawford & Associates, and I have evidence that 2 people working in your Victim Services Division are running a witness intimidation operation that's been undermining criminal prosecutions for at least 6 months. Silence. Then, I'm listening. One of them is Ethan Palmer, your victim advocate coordinator. The other is his accomplice, a volunteer named Natalie Mitchell. My voice doesn't waver. She's also my wife. Mr. Mitchell, these are serious allegations. I have recordings of them threatening witnesses, financial records showing payments from criminal defendants, a spreadsheet tracking which cases they've sabotaged and how much they were paid, cross-referenced with court records showing the pattern of case dismissals. Everything you need. Another pause. Where are you right now? My office, downtown. Can you be at my office in 30 minutes? And Mr. Mitchell, don't contact your wife. Don't tell anyone else about this. Not yet. Understood? 30 minutes. He ends the call. I sit in the silence of my office, looking at the family photo on my desk. Emma and Tyler grinning at the camera, Natalie's arms around them, my hand on her shoulder. We'd taken it last summer at the beach. Everything in that photo is a lie. I delete Natalie's number from my recent calls. Clear my browser history. Lock my computer. Then I grab my briefcase, walk out of my office, and tell my secretary I'll be out for the rest of the day. The DA's office is 12 minutes away. I make it in 9. I pull into the underground parking garage of the district attorney's office at 9:58 a.m., 2 minutes early. The fluorescent lights flicker overhead as I kill the engine and sit in the silence. My briefcase on the passenger seat containing 3 USB drives, 200 pages of printed documentation, and a timeline that maps out 12 separate criminal cases compromised by my wife. My wife. The words still don't fit together properly in my mind. I told Natalie I had an early meeting with a client. She'd smiled at me over her coffee cup, asked if I'd be home for dinner. I'd said probably not, kissed Emma and Tyler goodbye, and walked out the door like it was any other Tuesday morning. The elevator ride to the 8th floor takes 43 seconds. I count each one. Deputy DA James Brennan meets me in the lobby himself. He's younger than I expected, maybe 40, with the kind of lean, restless energy that suggests too much coffee and not enough sleep. His handshake is firm, his expression carefully neutral. "Mr. Mitchell, thanks for coming in." "David, please." He leads me past the reception area, through a maze of cubicles where assistant DAs huddle over case files and talk in low, urgent voices. We end up in a windowless conference room at the back of the building. Already waiting inside are two other people. A woman in her 50s with steel gray hair pulled into a tight bun, and a man who has detective written all over him. Rumpled suit, observant eyes, the kind of stillness that comes from years of watching people lie. "This is District Attorney Patricia Lawson," Brennan says, "and Detective Ray Foster, Criminal Investigation Division." The DA doesn't offer her hand. She gestures to a chair across from her. "Sit." I sit. "Before we begin," she says, "I need to be clear about something. The allegations you made in your email yesterday are extremely serious. If they're substantiated, we're looking at systematic corruption of the criminal justice system, obstruction of justice, witness tampering, conspiracy, and potentially RICO charges. If they're not substantiated, if this is some kind of domestic dispute you're trying to weaponize, I will personally see to it that you're disbarred and prosecuted for filing a false report." "I understand." "Do you?" Her eyes are hard. "Because in my experience, people who think their spouse is cheating sometimes see conspiracies where there's just garden-variety adultery and poor judgment." I open my briefcase and remove the first USB drive. Everything is documented. Financial records showing payments from criminal defendants to my wife's personal account. Recordings of threatening phone calls made to witnesses. Text messages coordinating intimidation tactics. Case files cross-referenced with witness recantations and case dismissals. The pattern is clear and consistent across 12 cases over the past 14 months. Detective Foster takes the drive, plugs it into a laptop at the end of the table. The DA and Brennan move to stand behind him as he begins clicking through folders. The room goes very quiet. I watch their faces. Brennan's jaw tightens. Foster's expression doesn't change, but his fingers pause over the keyboard. The DA's face goes pale, then flushed. "Jesus Christ," Brennan whispers. On the screen is a spreadsheet. Natalie's spreadsheet, backed up to her cloud storage like she was tracking household expenses instead of extortion payments. Each row is a case. Each column, defendant name, victim name, payment amount, date of contact, outcome. The DA leans closer. That's the Ramirez case, domestic violence. The victim recanted 2 days before trial. $20,000, I say quietly. Deposited into an account under my wife's maiden name 3 days after the recantation. The bank records are in folder 3. Foster clicks through to the audio files. Selects one at random. Natalie's voice fills the room, calm and professional. "Understand you're scared, Jennifer. But you need to understand something too. If you testify, people will know where you're staying. People will know where your sister works, where your kids go to school. Accidents happen, house fires, car accidents. You really want to risk that?" The woman on the other end is crying. "I just want it to stop," she sobs. Then make it stop, Natalie says. Tell the DA you lied. Tell them you were angry, you exaggerated, whatever. But make this go away and everyone stays safe. Don't, and I can't protect you from what happens next. The DA's hand moves to stop the playback. Her face is rigid. How many recordings are there? 47, I say. Across the 12 cases. Not every contact was recorded. Sometimes they met in person, sometimes they used burner phones, but there's enough to establish the pattern. And your wife, the DA says slowly, works at victim services. Volunteers, 3 days a week. Has access to victim contact information, case details, protective order addresses. Everything an intimidation operation would need. Who else is involved? Ethan Palmer. He's the victim advocate coordinator. He and my wife are... I pause. The professional detachment I've been maintaining cracks slightly. They're having an affair. Based on the messages, it appears to have started around the same time as the intimidation operation. I don't know if there are others. Foster is clicking through more files now. Bank statements, screenshots of text messages, photos of cash payments being counted on what I recognize as our kitchen table, taken when I was at the office working 70-hour weeks to make partner. The cases, Brennan says. His voice is tight. These are all my cases. Domestic violence, sexual assault, witness-dependent prosecutions. Every single one collapsed because witnesses recanted or disappeared. I know. I thought, he stops, starts again. I thought we were losing them because the victims were scared, because the system failed them, because I failed them. You didn't fail them, the DA says sharply. You were sabotaged. We all were. She turns to me. What do you want out of this? The question catches me off guard. I don't want anything. I want justice. I want these cases prosecuted properly. I want the victims to know it wasn't their fault, that they were targeted and terrorized by the very people who were supposed to help them. And your wife? Prosecute her. The words taste like ash. She made her choices. She terrorized vulnerable women for money. She corrupted the system. I stop, take a breath. Prosecute her. The DA studies me for a long moment. Then she nods to Foster. Get a warrant. I want Natalie Mitchell and Ethan Palmer in custody by end of day. Seize all electronics, financial records, everything. And I want a full audit of every case that went through victim services in the past 2 years. On it, Foster is already on his phone. Brennan is still staring at the laptop screen, at the list of cases, at the names of women who'd been brave enough to come forward only to be threatened back into silence. The Ramirez case, he says. Maria Ramirez. Her husband put her in the hospital twice. Broke her jaw, 3 ribs, fractured her eye socket. She was terrified to testify, but she was going to do it. She was going to put him away. Then 2 days before trial, she recants everything. Says she fell down the stairs. Says she made it all up because she was angry. He looks at me. $20,000? Plus expenses. Natalie documented everything. She was meticulous. And now he's free. He's out there and where is she? I don't know. I don't know where Maria Ramirez is, or any of the other women whose cases are listed in that spreadsheet. I don't know if they're safe, if they're alive, if they're still with the men who hurt them because my wife made them too terrified to seek help. We'll find them, the DA says. We'll reach out to every victim, offer protection, offer support. We'll do this right. Some of them won't talk, Foster says quietly. They've been threatened once. They won't trust the system again. Then we work with what we have. The recordings, the financial records, the pattern of obstruction. We build the case without them if we have to. The DA's expression is granite. But we make this right. She turns back to me. You'll need to testify. Grand jury, trial, all of it. Your marriage, your family, your privacy, it's all going to become public record. You understand that? I understand. And you're prepared for what happens next? For your wife to be arrested, for your children to find out, No, I say honestly, I'm not prepared. But it doesn't matter. This is bigger than my marriage, bigger than my family. Women were terrorized, criminals walked free. The system was corrupted. That has to be fixed, whatever the cost. The DA nods slowly. Okay, then let's get to work. The call comes at 6:47 a.m. Wednesday morning. I'm at my desk at home, running on 90 minutes of sleep and my third cup of coffee, when my phone vibrates. Unknown number. I answer anyway. Mr. Mitchell, this is Detective Angela Torres, State Police Major Crime Unit. DA Lawson asked me to contact you directly. My hand tightens around the phone. Did you get them? We executed the warrants at 5:30 this morning. Both subjects are in custody. I close my eyes. The relief hits like a physical force, but it's complicated. Threaded through with something that might be grief, or might just be exhaustion. Your wife is being processed at the women's detention facility in Hartford. Palmer is at the men's facility. Arraignment is scheduled for 2 p.m. today. DA Lawson wanted you to know before it hits the media. Thank you. One more thing. Torres pauses. We found additional evidence during the search of Palmer's residence. Significantly more than what you provided. This goes deeper than 12 cases. My stomach drops. How much deeper? We're still cataloging, but preliminary count shows communications related to at least 37 separate criminal cases over the past 2 years. Multiple defendants, multiple witnesses. We found a second set of financial records Palmer kept separately from the shared files you discovered. 37 cases. I think about the woman in the grocery store parking lot, the one who changed her story. Multiply her by 37. Mr. Mitchell, you still there? Yeah, I'm here. DA Lawson will be in touch about the arraignment. You're not required to attend, but you have the right to be present if you choose. After we hang up, I sit in the silence of my home office. The house is quiet. Emma and Tyler are still asleep. I told them last night that Mommy had to go away for work. Emma asked when she'd be back. I said I wasn't sure. I didn't lie to my daughter. I just didn't tell her the truth. My phone buzzes again. Text from Brennan. Media will have it by 9 a.m. Prepared statement attached. Your call whether to use it or go silent. I open the attachment. It's brief, professional, sanitized. I'm cooperating fully with law enforcement and ask for privacy for my family during this difficult time. The words feel hollow. But what else is there to say? By 9:15, my phone is ringing constantly. I silence it after the 6th call from reporters I've never heard of. Channel 8. News has a van parked across the street. I close the blinds. Emma wanders into the kitchen at 9:30, dragging her stuffed rabbit. Daddy, why are there people outside? They're just working, sweetheart. Don't worry about it. Is Mommy coming home today? The question lands like a knife between my ribs. I crouch down to her level, meeting her eyes. Not today, baby. But you're going to stay with Grandma and Grandpa for a little while, okay? They're excited to see you. My parents live 40 minutes away in Westport. I called them at 7 a.m., gave them the abbreviated version. My mother cried. My father asked what I needed. I told him to come get the kids before the media circus gets worse. They arrive at 10:30. My mother hugs me too long. My father shakes his head, jaw tight, and loads Emma's and Tyler's overnight bags into his Subaru. We'll keep them as long as you need, my mother says. Days, weeks, whatever. Thank you. Tyler waves from his car seat as they pull away. Emma presses her hand against the window. I wave back until they turn the corner. Then I'm alone. The arraignment is in courtroom 4B at the Hartford Superior Court. I arrive at 1:45 p.m., entering through a side entrance Brennan arranged to avoid the media clustered at the main doors. The courtroom is smaller than I expected. Fluorescent lights, worn wooden benches, the seal of Connecticut mounted behind the judge's bench. I take a seat in the back row, away from the handful of reporters and courthouse regulars scattered throughout. At 1:58, a door opens and a corrections officer leads Natalie in. She's wearing an orange jumpsuit. Her hair is pulled back in a messy ponytail. No makeup. She looks smaller somehow, diminished. Her eyes scan the courtroom, and then they find me. For 3 seconds, we just look at each other. Her expression shifts through surprise, confusion, and then something that might be pleading. She opens her mouth like she's going to say something, but the corrections officer guides her to the defense table where a public defender is waiting. A second corrections officer brings Ethan Palmer in 30 seconds later. He's tall, early 40s, with the kind of generic handsomeness that probably photographs well. He doesn't look at me. Doesn't look at Natalie either. Just sits beside his own public defender and stares straight ahead. Judge Catherine Reeves enters at 2:03. Everyone stands. The proceedings move quickly. The charges are read: conspiracy to obstruct justice, witness tampering, extortion, unauthorized access to confidential information, racketeering. The list goes on. Natalie's public defender, a tired-looking woman in her 50s named Janet Pruitt, enters a plea of not guilty. Palmer's attorney does the same. Then comes bail. DA Lawson herself handles the arguments. She's in her mid-50s, gray hair cut short, wearing a navy suit that's seen better days. But when she speaks, the room listens. Your Honor, the people request both defendants be held without bail. The evidence shows a sophisticated criminal enterprise that systematically undermined the integrity of our justice system over a period of at least 2 years. We have documented 37 separate cases where witnesses were threatened, coerced, or paid to recant testimony or refuse to cooperate with prosecution. She pauses, letting that number sink in. These defendants use their positions of trust, positions specifically designed to protect vulnerable victims, to prey on those same victims. They had access to confidential addresses, protective order information, and witness identities. The danger to the community if they are released cannot be overstated. We have reason to believe additional witnesses may be at risk, and the defendants have both the means and the motive to flee or interfere with the ongoing investigation. Pruitt argues that Natalie has no criminal record, has ties to the community, and is a mother of 2 young children. Palmer's attorney makes similar points. Judge Reeves listens to both sides. Then she looks down at the file in front of her for a long moment. Bail is denied for both defendants. Given the nature of the charges, the number of alleged victims, and the potential for witness intimidation, I find the risk to the community too substantial. Defendants will remain in custody pending trial. The gavel comes down. Natalie's head drops. Palmer's jaw tightens, but otherwise he shows no reaction. As the corrections officers move to escort them out, Natalie turns and looks at me again. This time there's something different in her expression. Not pleading, not confusion. Recognition, maybe. Understanding that I'm the reason she's here. I hold her gaze until she's led through the door. Outside the courthouse, I push through the cluster of reporters, shouting questions I don't answer. I make it to my car, lock the doors, and just sit there in the parking garage. My phone buzzes. Text from Brennan. You okay? I type back, define okay. 3 dots appear, then disappear. Then, fair point. DA wants to meet tomorrow at 10 a.m. Victim witness interview starting. Your evidence opened up leads we're still following. I'll be there. I start the car but don't put it in gear yet. Instead, I pull up the photo gallery on my phone. Scroll back to 3 months ago. There's a picture from Emma's 6th birthday party. Natalie is laughing, holding Emma on her lap while Tyler tries to blow out the candles. We look happy. We look normal. I delete the photo. Then I delete the next one. And the next. One by one, I remove every picture that has Natalie in it. It takes 11 minutes. When I'm done, my photo library looks like she was never there at all. I know that's not healthy. I know I'm probably supposed to process this differently. Talk to someone. Not make irreversible decisions while running on no sleep and too much coffee. But right now, in this parking garage, with my wife in jail and my kids at my parents' house and 37 cases worth of victims waiting for justice, healthy isn't what I'm aiming for. Functional is enough. I put the car in reverse and head home to the empty house. The call comes Thursday morning while I'm reviewing discovery documents at my dining room table. The same table where Emma used to do her coloring books while Natalie made dinner. Now it's covered in legal pads and case files, my laptop open to encrypted folders the DA's office gave me access to. Mr. Mitchell, this is Detective Torres. I recognize her voice immediately. She's been my primary contact since I turned over the evidence. Professional, thorough, no wasted sympathy. We've got a development, she says. Can you come downtown? Deputy DA Brennan wants to walk you through something. 40 minutes later, I'm in the same conference room where I first met with them. This time there are 3 additional people I don't recognize. 2 men in suits, 1 woman with FBI credentials clipped to her jacket pocket. David, thanks for coming in. Brennan gestures to a chair. This is Special Agent Nicole Wright and Agents Kevin Murphy and Thomas Blake from the FBI's Public Corruption Unit. My stomach drops. FBI means this got bigger. Agent Wright doesn't waste time. Mr. Mitchell, your wife and Mr. Palmer's operation was more extensive than we initially understood. We've been tracking financial transactions through the accounts you identified. The payments didn't just come from defendants. She slides a document across the table. Bank statements, highlighted in yellow. Defense attorneys, I say, scanning the names. My lawyer brain processes it before my emotional brain catches up. They were paying too. 12 different criminal defense attorneys over the past 18 months, Murphy says. Retainer agreements that reference witness consultation services. They knew exactly what they were buying. I look at the names. 3 of them I recognize from the legal community. 1 I've had drinks with at bar association events. How much? North of $400,000, Wright says. Split between your wife, Palmer, and the attorneys who referred clients. We're looking at a racketeering enterprise. The number sits in my brain like a foreign object. $400,000. While I worked 70-hour weeks to make partner, Natalie was running a criminal enterprise that made more than my annual salary. There's more, Brennan says. He looks uncomfortable, which makes my chest tighten. We've identified victims who were assaulted after refusing to cooperate with the intimidation. 2 required hospitalization. 1 disappeared entirely. We're treating it as a potential homicide. The room tilts slightly. I grip the edge of the table. Your wife's phone records show she provided victim addresses and daily schedules to unknown third parties. We're working to identify them now, but we believe she and Palmer hired enforcers when verbal threats weren't sufficient. I think about Natalie sleeping peacefully Tuesday morning, about her volunteer badge from Victim Services, displayed proudly on our refrigerator with Emma's artwork, about the speech she gave at a fundraiser last year about protecting the vulnerable. The woman who disappeared, I hear myself say. When? Torres checks her notes. October 7th. Domestic violence victim, boyfriend facing aggravated assault charges. She was scheduled to testify October 10th. Never showed up. Family hasn't seen her since October 6th. October 7th. I pull out my phone, scroll back through my calendar. My hands are steady, lawyer mode fully engaged now, emotions locked away. Natalie was at a work retreat that weekend. Left Friday, came back Sunday night. I look up. I can give you the exact times. Wright and Murphy exchange glances. We'll need that, Wright says, along with any other trips, conferences, or overnight absences you can document. I spend the next 2 hours walking them through Natalie's calendar. Every book club that ran late. Every volunteer shift that extended past midnight. Every girl's weekend and work obligation. My phone's shared calendar has it all, color-coded and detailed. By the time we finish, they've identified 7 weekends that correspond with victim disappearances or assaults in 3 different counties. Mr. Mitchell, Brennan says as I'm gathering my things, we're going to need you to testify before a grand jury. Federal charges this time. RICO, conspiracy to commit murder, obstruction of justice across state lines. State lines? 2 victims fled to New York. Your wife tracked them down. We have text messages coordinating surveillance across state borders. I nod. My hands still aren't shaking. That will come later, probably in my empty house with no one to see it. One more thing, Torres says. We arrested 3 of the defense attorneys this morning. 2 are cooperating. They're naming names. Other lawyers, a bail bondsman, 2 court clerks who provided sealed information. This thing touches a lot of people. How many cases are compromised? 63 that we've confirmed so far. Domestic violence, sexual assault, armed robbery, drug trafficking. All cases where witness testimony was critical. Brennan's jaw tightens. Most of those defendants walked free because victims recanted or disappeared. We're looking at retrials, but many are beyond the statute of limitations now. 63 cases. 63 criminals back on the street because my wife sold out their victims. The media's gonna get this soon, Wright says. Maybe today, definitely by tomorrow. You should prepare for that. Get your kids somewhere safe and private. They're already at my parents' place in Vermont. But I don't mention that Emma asked on the phone last night when Mommy's coming home. That Tyler drew a picture of our family with Natalie scribbled out in black crayon. I'll handle it, I say. Outside, the November air feels sharp and clean. I sit in my car in the parking garage for 10 minutes, not moving, not thinking, just breathing. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. You destroyed her life. I hope you're proud. I stare at it. Then another arrives. She loved you. She made mistakes, but she loved you. You could have worked it out. A third message. Those kids are going to grow up knowing their father put their mother in prison. Hope that feels good. I screenshot all three, forward them to Torres with a brief message. Witness intimidation continues. Then I block the number and drive home. The house is exactly as I left it. Silent, clean, empty. I heat up leftover Chinese food and eat it standing at the kitchen counter, reviewing the notes I took during the meeting. 63 cases. $400,000. One potential murder. My wife did this. The woman who cried at Emma's kindergarten graduation, who organized meal trains for sick neighbors, who kissed me goodbye every morning for 8 years. The same woman who tracked down terrified victims and gave their addresses to people who put them in hospitals. I throw away the rest of the food and open my laptop. The federal grand jury will want documentation, timelines, financial records. I'm good at this. Building cases, organizing evidence, presenting facts in compelling narratives. I work until midnight, cross-referencing Natalie's calendar against the victim timeline Torres provided. Patterns emerge. Weekend trips that align with out-of-state intimidation. Late nights that correspond with victim hospitalizations. A conference in Boston the same weekend, a witness there recanted her testimony. Every piece of evidence is another nail, another count. Another year she'll spend in federal prison. My phone rings at 12:47 a.m. Unknown number. I almost don't answer, but something makes me pick up. David Mitchell? Who is this? My name is Jennifer Holt. Your wife. She came to my house after I reported my ex-boyfriend for breaking my jaw. The voice is young, shaky. She told me she was from Victim Services. Said she was there to help me stay safe. I closed my eyes. Instead, she gave my address to someone. They came to my apartment. I got away, but... A pause. I saw the news about the arrests. I just wanted you to know, I'm glad you turned her in. I'm glad someone finally stopped her. I'm sorry, I say. I'm so sorry this happened to you. It's not your fault. She sounds like she's crying. But thank you for doing the right thing. She hangs up before I can respond. I sit in the dark living room, phone in my hand, and finally let myself feel it. Not the betrayal of the affair. That's almost background noise now. The real betrayal. The one that makes my hands shake and my chest hurt. I loved someone capable of this. I shared a bed with her, made children with her, trusted her with everything. And she spent 2 years terrorizing the most vulnerable people in our community for money. The shaking spreads to my whole body. I don't cry, can't seem to access that release. Just sit there trembling in the dark until it passes. Then I go back to my laptop and keep working. Evidence first. Everything else later. The conference room at the FBI field office smells like burnt coffee and recycled air. I've been here 3 hours, walking agents Wright and Murphy through the financial records for what feels like the 100th time. This payment here, Wright taps a highlighted cell on the spreadsheet projected onto the wall. November 15th, $8,500 to an LLC called Granite Solutions. What do we know about them? Shell Company, Murphy answers before I can. Registered in Delaware, dissolved 2 weeks after this transaction. We're tracing the beneficial owner now. I lean back in the uncomfortable chair, rubbing my eyes. It's Friday afternoon. The kids have been with my parents since Wednesday. Emma called last night asking when Mommy's work trip would be over. I told her I wasn't sure. Wright's phone buzzes. She glances at it, and something shifts in her expression. David, we need to talk about something. The tone makes my stomach drop. I've heard that tone before, from doctors delivering bad news, from partners about to tell associates they didn't make the cut. We found the woman, Wright says, the domestic violence victim who disappeared. Teresa Valdez. Present tense. Found, not recovered. She's alive? She's alive. Murphy pulls up a new file on his laptop. Walked into a police station in Albuquerque this morning. She'd been hiding there since October, staying with her sister. Saw the news coverage about the arrests and decided it was safe to come forward. The relief hits harder than I expect. One person saved. One life not destroyed. She's willing to testify, Wright continues, about the threats, the payments they offered her to recant, everything. It corroborates the recordings we found in your wife's files. Your wife, not Natalie. They've been doing that all week, creating distance, making her a subject rather than a person. It helps, actually. That's good, I manage. It's very good. Wright closes the file. But it also means we need to accelerate the timeline. Once word gets out that Teresa surfaced, anyone else involved in this operation is going to start covering their tracks. We're moving up the next round of arrests to Monday morning. How many? 14 people. 8 defense attorneys, 3 court clerks, 2 bail bondsmen, and a paralegal who was funneling case information to your wife and Ethan Palmer. 14 more families about to implode. 14 more lives detonating at breakfast time. I think about Emma asking about Mommy's work trip and feel sick. We'll need you available Monday, Murphy says, in case any questions come up during the arrests. You won't be present, but we need you on call. I have the kids Monday. My parents are bringing them back Sunday night. Wright and Murphy exchange a look. David, Wright says carefully, have you considered that having them stay with your parents a bit longer might be? No. The word comes out harder than I intend. They've been away from home almost a week. They need stability. They need routine. What they need is a mother who isn't in federal custody awaiting trial, but I don't say that. Murphy nods slowly. Understood. We'll work around your schedule. My phone vibrates. A text from my father. Kids are asking about Natalie again. What should I tell them? I stare at the message. What do you tell a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old about something you barely understand yourself? We're done here for today, Wright says, reading something in my face. Go home. Get some rest. We'll brief you Sunday night on the Monday operation. I gather my things. Laptop, the folder of documents I've been carrying everywhere, the phone that's become both evidence and albatross. Outside, the late afternoon sun feels too bright. I've been in windowless rooms so much this week that natural light seems wrong somehow. My car's where I left it in the parking garage. I sit behind the wheel for a long moment before starting the engine. The house is exactly as I left it this morning. Breakfast dishes in the sink. Emma's backpack by the door, still packed from the rushed trip to my parents'. Tyler's stuffed elephant on the couch. He must have forgotten it in the chaos. I pick up the elephant. It's worn soft from years of being dragged everywhere, one ear slightly chewed. The silence is oppressive. I wash the dishes, wipe down the counters, fold the laundry that's been sitting in the dryer since Tuesday night. Mechanical tasks that require no thought. My phone rings. Unknown number. I almost don't answer, but something makes me pick up. David Mitchell? A woman's voice, unfamiliar. Speaking. My name is Teresa Valdez. I sit down hard on the couch, still holding Tyler's elephant. The FBI said you're the one who turned in the evidence, she continues. Her voice is quiet, careful. The one who exposed what they were doing. Yes. I wanted to thank you. There's a tremor in the words. They told me. They told me they knew where my kids went to school. They knew my sister's address in New Mexico. They said if I testified, something might happen to them. An accident, maybe. These things happen. I close my eyes. I believe them, Teresa says. I dropped the charges against my ex-husband. He broke 3 of my ribs and gave me a concussion, and I stood in court and said I made it all up, that I fell down the stairs. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Just thank you for stopping them. The FBI said there were dozens of other cases, dozens of other people they did this to. 63 cases. 63 victims terrorized into silence. 63 criminals who walked free. I'm testifying, Teresa says. At the trial, I'm going to tell them everything. What they said, what they threatened, all of it. That's brave. She laughs, but there's no humor in it. It's not brave. It's what I should have done the first time, before I ran. After we hang up, I sit in the quiet house holding my son's stuffed elephant and thinking about courage. Natalie made a choice. Every day for months, she made the same choice, to terrorize people like Teresa Valdez, to help violent criminals escape justice, to build a business on other people's fear. And I made a choice too, to turn her in, to cooperate with the investigation, to let my children's mother go to prison. The doubt creeps in sometimes, usually at night. Whether I should have confronted her first, given her a chance to explain, to stop, to turn herself in voluntarily. But then I think about Teresa, hiding in New Mexico, about the woman who was hospitalized, about the 61 other victims whose names I don't even know. My phone buzzes again. My father. Emma wants to FaceTime. I set down the elephant and accept the call. Emma's face fills the screen, gap-toothed smile bright. Daddy, guess what? Grandpa took us to the park and I went on the big slide. That's great, sweetheart. Tyler cried because he was scared, but I wasn't scared at all. She leans closer to the camera, conspiratorial. When are we coming home? I miss my room. Tomorrow night. Grandpa's bringing you back after dinner. Is Mommy going to be there? The question I've been dreading. No, honey. Mommy's still away for work. But you'll be there? I'll be there. Okay. She seems satisfied with this. Tyler wants to say hi. My son's face appears, chocolate smeared on one cheek. Hi, Daddy. Hi, buddy. Are you being good for Grandma and Grandpa? Uh-huh. We had ice cream. I can see that. After we say goodbye, I sit in the empty house and try to imagine explaining this to them someday. When they're old enough to understand, old enough to search their mother's name online and find the news articles, the court records, the truth. I'll tell them I did what I had to do. I'll tell them that sometimes the right choice is also the hardest choice. I'll tell them their mother made mistakes, but that doesn't mean she didn't love them. I'll tell them a lot of things, probably. Whether they'll believe me is another question entirely. My phone buzzes one more time. Agent Wright. Monday, 6 a.m. 14 simultaneous arrests. Stay by your phone. I respond with a thumbs up and set the phone aside. Outside, the sun is setting. The neighbors are coming home from work, pulling into driveways, living their normal Friday evenings. I pick up Tyler's elephant and carry it upstairs to his room, placing it carefully on his bed where he'll find it when he comes home. Then I go back downstairs and wait for Monday. The Monday morning arrests happen exactly as Brennan promised. I watch the news from my parents' kitchen table while Emma eats cereal, and Tyler colors in a dinosaur book, both blissfully unaware that their mother's face is about to appear on every local channel. Channel 8 breaks the story at 6:47 a.m. Developing story this morning. Federal and state authorities have arrested 14 individuals in connection with what prosecutors are calling the largest witness intimidation ring in state history. Among those arrested are 3 defense attorneys, 2 court clerks, and several individuals identified as enforcers who allegedly carried out threats and assaults against victims and witnesses in criminal cases. The screen shows footage of agents leading a man in handcuffs from a law office in Hartford. I recognize the building. Carlson and Associates, a criminal defense firm with billboards all over I-95. My phone vibrates. Brennan. All 14 in custody. No incidents. Press conference at 10. I don't respond. I just watch the news coverage expand across every channel, my coffee going cold in my hand. My mother appears in the doorway, still in her bathrobe. She sees what I'm watching and immediately changes the channel to PBS Kids. Not in front of them, she says quietly. She's right. But Emma's already seen something. Daddy, why were those people wearing handcuffs? They broke some rules, I tell her. Grown-up rules. Nothing for you to worry about. She accepts this and returns to her cereal. Tyler hasn't even looked up from his coloring. My father drives me to the press conference. I told Brennan I wouldn't attend, but he insisted. You don't have to speak, he said. But the judge will want to see that the cooperating witness is a real person, not just a name in a filing. It matters for the bail hearings this afternoon. So I sit in the back row of the DA's conference room, while Patricia Lawson stands at a podium flanked by FBI agents and state police commanders. The room is packed with reporters, cameras, and recording equipment. Lawson's statement is precise and damning. Over a period of at least 18 months, a criminal enterprise operated within our justice system with the express purpose of obstructing prosecutions through systematic witness intimidation. This operation involved licensed attorneys, court personnel, and hired enforcers who threatened, assaulted, and in some cases caused victims and witnesses to flee the state in fear for their lives. She details the scope. 63 compromised cases, 14 arrests this morning, more anticipated. Over $400,000 in documented payments. 2 victims hospitalized. Multiple witnesses who recanted testimony or failed to appear in court after being threatened. This investigation began when a private citizen discovered evidence of this criminal operation and immediately brought it to our attention. That individual's cooperation has been instrumental in dismantling this network. She doesn't name me, but several reporters turn to look at the back row anyway. The questions come rapid fire. Will you retry the cases that were dismissed? We're reviewing each case individually. In some instances, witnesses are now willing to testify again. In others, the evidence may be insufficient without their testimony. How many defendants were released because of this operation? At least 37 individuals who should have been convicted walked free. Some have since committed additional crimes. Were any of the intimidated witnesses killed? Lawson pauses. We're investigating one disappearance as a potential homicide. Teresa Valdez was located alive last week in New Mexico, but we're examining whether other witnesses who disappeared may have met a different fate. The room erupts with follow-up questions. Lawson holds up her hand. One more question. Are the 2 original defendants, Natalie Mitchell and Ethan Palmer, cooperating with the investigation? No. Both have declined to provide information about other participants in the conspiracy. I already knew this. Brennan told me 3 days ago that Natalie's attorney advised her to remain silent, betting that the prosecution couldn't prove she was more than a subordinate player following Ethan's lead. It's a bad bet. The evidence shows she was a full partner, sometimes even taking the lead on particularly vulnerable victims. After the press conference, Brennan pulls me into a side office. Bail hearings start at 2. All 14 will argue for release. The judge will deny every single one, but they'll make their arguments anyway. Do I need to be there? No, but Natalie's hearing is at 4:30. Thought you should know. I don't want to see her. Haven't seen her since the arrest. Haven't spoken to her since that morning I confronted her in our kitchen. Her attorney sent a message through Brennan asking if I would bring the children to visit. I didn't respond. Her parents called me, I tell Brennan. They want to see Emma and Tyler. What did you say? That I'd think about it. Natalie's parents are decent people. Her father taught high school history for 30 years. Her mother volunteers at the library. They're devastated, confused, insistent that their daughter couldn't have done what she's accused of. They don't know about the recordings, the spreadsheets, the messages where Natalie laughed about making a domestic violence victim so terrified she moved to a different state. You don't owe them anything, Brennan says. They're Emma and Tyler's grandparents. They're also character witnesses for the defense. Anything you tell them will end up in court filings. He's right. Everything is evidence now. Every conversation, every decision, every interaction filtered through the lens of the prosecution. My phone rings. Unknown number. I almost don't answer, but something makes me pick up. Mr. Mitchell? Female voice. Young, scared. Who is this? My name is Ashley Brennan. Not related to the DA, different Brennan. I saw the news this morning about the arrests. I step away from the deputy DA, moving toward the window. What can I do for you, Ms. Brennan? I was one of them, one of the witnesses. Case number? She pauses, and I hear paper rustling. Case number 2019 CR 4477, domestic assault. I was supposed to testify against my ex-boyfriend, but then this woman called me and said if I showed up to court, something bad would happen to my daughter. My chest tightens. When was this? 2 years ago. I didn't testify. The case got dismissed. And my ex, he put me in the hospital 4 months later. Broke my jaw. But I was too scared to press charges again because I thought those people would come after my little girl. I close my eyes. I'm sorry. The news said they're reviewing cases. Can they prosecute him again? Can I testify now? I don't know. You should call the DA's office. Ask for James Brennan. He's the deputy DA handling this investigation. Will they believe me? I already lied once. I told the court I didn't want to press charges anymore. They'll believe you. Call them. Today. She thanks me and hangs up. I stand at the window looking down at the street below, watching people walk to their cars, to lunch, to normal lives that don't involve explaining to their children why mommy is in jail. Brennan appears beside me. You okay? That was a victim. From one of the cases. She wants to know if she can testify now. He nods slowly. We've gotten 17 calls like that since the press conference. Witnesses who were too scared before but are willing to come forward now. Will it be enough to retry the cases? Some of them, not all. And some of those defendants have already committed new crimes, which means we can prosecute those instead. But others, he shakes his head. Others are gone, moved away, changed their names, disappeared into the system. 37 people who should be in prison walking free because my wife decided that helping criminals escape justice was a profitable side business. I check my watch. Almost noon. Emma and Tyler will be having lunch at my parents' house, still watching PBS Kids, still protected from the knowledge that their mother is a criminal and their father is the one who turned her in. I need to go, I tell Brennan. The bail hearing? I'm not going. I can't see her. He doesn't argue, just hands me a folder. Victim impact statements. We'll need them eventually for sentencing. No rush, but start thinking about what you want to say. I take the folder without opening it and walk out of the DA's office into the bright November afternoon, where my father is waiting in the parking lot to drive me back to a house that isn't mine, to children who keep asking when they can go home, to a life that no longer exists. The courthouse steps are crowded with reporters when I arrive Thursday morning. 6 days since the arrests. I keep my head down, briefcase in hand, and push through the questions shouted at me. Mr. Mitchell, how long did you suspect? Did you know your wife was? What about your children? Inside, security waves me through. They know me now. I've been here 3 times this week. Brennan meets me in the hallway outside his office. He looks like he hasn't slept in days. Neither have I. We've got a problem, he says without preamble. I follow him inside. His desk is buried under case files, each one tagged with colored markers. Red for compromised, yellow for salvageable, green for unaffected. There's a lot of red. Vanessa Torres, he says, opening a file. Domestic violence victim, testified against her ex-boyfriend Marcus Webb last year. He broke her jaw in 3 places, fractured her orbital socket. Open and shut case, until she recanted 2 days before trial. Said she fell down the stairs. I know where this is going. Let me guess. Your wife visited her 4 times in the 2 weeks before she recanted. We pulled the visitor logs from the shelter where Torres was staying. He slides a photocopy across the desk. Natalie's signature, clear as day. But here's the new problem. Torres disappeared 3 months ago. Her sister filed a missing person report. No one's seen her since. The air in the room feels thin. You think? I don't know what to think. Brennan drops into his chair. Webb walked on the recantation. He's got a new girlfriend now. She filed a restraining order last month. Said he threatened to make her disappear like the last one. I sit down before my legs give out. Jesus. We brought Webb in for questioning yesterday. He lawyered up immediately, but he was smiling the whole time. Like he knows we can't touch him. Brennan's jaw tightens. The girlfriend is terrified, won't testify, won't even talk to us now. Because she saw what happened to Torres. Exactly. He pulls out another file. And she's not the only one. We've identified 11 witnesses who disappeared or relocated suddenly after recanting. Most left no forwarding address, no contact with family. Just gone. I think about the messages I found on Natalie's phone, the payment records, the coded language about handling problems and permanent solutions. I thought it was just threats, intimidation. But what if it wasn't? The FBI is expanding the investigation, Brennan continues. They're treating it as potential homicide now, multiple homicides. They're bringing in cadaver dogs to search properties connected to the enforcers we've identified. My hands are shaking. I clasp them together. Have you talked to Natalie about this? Her attorney won't let her anywhere near us. She's invoking her Fifth Amendment rights on everything. He pauses. But Ethan Palmer is starting to crack. That gets my attention. What do you mean? He requested a meeting with us yesterday, without his attorney present, though we insisted the attorney be there anyway. He's scared, David. Really scared. He keeps asking about witness protection, about deal terms. He knows he's looking at life without parole on the RICO charges alone. If we add homicide, what's he offering? Everything. Names, dates, locations. He says he can give us the whole network, the defense attorneys who paid them, the enforcers who carried out the threats, the court clerks who provided witness information. He says there are people involved we haven't even identified yet, people in positions we wouldn't expect. I lean forward. Like who? He won't say until he gets immunity, but he hinted at law enforcement, maybe even judicial. The implications hit me like a freight train. Cops, judges, the entire criminal justice system compromised from the inside. When does he give his formal statement? Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. His attorney is negotiating the terms now. Brennan meets my eyes. I wanted you to know before it becomes public. Once Palmer talks, this is going to explode. National news, federal task force, the whole 9 yards. I nod slowly. And Natalie? If Palmer implicates her in any homicides, she's done. No plea deal, no reduced charges. She'll die in prison. He says it matter-of-factly, but I can see the sympathy in his eyes. I'm sorry, David. I know she's still your wife, the mother of your children. Is she? The woman I married wouldn't have done this. Couldn't have. But the evidence doesn't lie. The messages, the payments, the victims, all of it points to someone I never really knew. I need to tell Emma and Tyler something, I say quietly. They keep asking when Mommy's coming home. My parents have been stalling, but they're 6 and 4. They don't understand. What are you going to say? I don't know. The truth lodges in my throat like broken glass. How do you tell your children their mother helped murderers go free? That she might have killed people herself? Brennan doesn't answer. There is no answer. My phone buzzes. A text from my father. Tyler had a nightmare about Natalie, asking for her. Call when you can. I close my eyes. I need to go. Wait. Brennan pulls out a thin folder. One more thing. We found something in Natalie's financial records. A safe deposit box at First National Bank, opened 2 years ago. We got a warrant to open it yesterday. He slides a photograph across the desk. Stacks of cash. Lots of it. $83,000, he says. All in small bills. Untraceable. There was also this. Another photograph. A burner phone. And a handwritten ledger with names, dates, and dollar amounts. The ledger goes back 3 years, Brennan says, long before Ethan Palmer came into the picture. Your wife was running this operation before she met him. He just expanded it. 3 years. Emma was 3 years old. Tyler was 1. I was working 70-hour weeks, trying to make partner, trusting Natalie to handle everything at home, trusting her completely. We're still analyzing the ledger, Brennan continues, but preliminary review shows at least 90 cases compromised, maybe more. This is bigger than we thought, David. Much bigger. I stare at the photographs. 90 cases. 90 criminals walking free. How many victims? How many families destroyed? How many people dead? The DA is holding a press conference at 2 p.m., Brennan says. She's going to announce the expanded investigation, the potential homicides, the scope of the conspiracy. You should prepare yourself. It's going to be everywhere. I stand up, legs unsteady. Can I get copies of these photos? He hesitates. Why? Because my children are going to ask me someday why their mother isn't in their lives. And when they're old enough to understand, they deserve to see the truth. My voice sounds hollow, distant. Not from news reports or Wikipedia articles, from me. Brennan makes copies without another word. I fold them carefully and slip them into my briefcase next to the divorce papers my attorney drafted yesterday. Irreconcilable differences. That's what the papers say. The legal fiction we use when the truth is too monstrous for simple language. Outside, the reporters have multiplied. I count at least 20 cameras. They surge forward when I emerge, a wall of microphones and shouted questions. Mr. Mitchell, is it true your wife is connected to multiple homicides? Did you have any knowledge of the criminal conspiracy? What do you plan to tell your children? I push through without responding. My car is parked 2 blocks away. I walk fast, head down, ignoring the cameras following me. My phone rings. Unknown number. I almost don't answer, but something makes me pick up. Mr. Mitchell? A woman's voice, shaking. My name is Rebecca Torres. Vanessa Torres was my sister. I stop walking. The reporters catch up, cameras pointed at my face. I turn away, pressing the phone tight to my ear. I saw the news about the arrests, she continues, about your wife and that man. I need to know, did they kill my sister? Please. I need to know what happened to her. The pain in her voice cuts through everything, the cameras, the chaos, the legal complexities. This is what it's really about. Not RICO charges or federal investigations. People. Victims. Families torn apart by greed and cruelty. I don't know, I tell her honestly, but I promise you, I'm going to help find out. 6 years later. The coffee shop near my office has become my Thursday morning ritual. I sit at the same corner table, reviewing case files while the morning rush flows around me. Partner at Crawford & Associates now, made it 3 years ago, ironically around the same time Natalie's federal trial concluded. My phone buzzes. A text from Emma. Don't forget parent-teacher conference at 4, and Tyler has soccer at 5:30. She's 12 now, manages both our schedules better than I do. Tyler's 10. All elbows and energy and questions I'm still learning how to answer. I respond with a thumbs up and return to my work. Civil litigation mostly. Corporate disputes. Clean, straightforward cases where nobody disappears and the only victims are balance sheets. The door chimes. I glance up out of habit and freeze. Teresa Valdez stands at the counter, ordering coffee. She's older than the frightened voice on the phone 6 years ago, hair pulled back, wearing scrubs that suggest she's between shifts somewhere. She sees me. Recognition flashes across her face. I half stand, uncertain. We've never met in person. Just that one phone call, and later her testimony at the trial that helped put Natalie away for 43 years without possibility of parole. Teresa approaches my table. David Mitchell? Teresa, hi. I gesture to the empty chair. Would you like to sit? She does, setting her coffee down carefully. For a moment, neither of us speaks. I work at Hartford General now, she finally says. Nursing assistant. Started as a volunteer, worked my way up. Been there 4 years. That's wonderful. Your wife? She stops, corrects herself. Natalie. She told me I'd never be safe, that I'd spend my whole life looking over my shoulder. Teresa meets my eyes. She was wrong, I testified. I went back to school. I rebuilt my life. My kids are safe. My ex-husband is in prison where he belongs. The retrial happened 18 months after Natalie's arrest. With the intimidation removed, Teresa and 16 other witnesses came forward. 32 cases were successfully retried. Not enough. 61 cases remained beyond the statute of limitations or lacked sufficient evidence. But 32 criminals who'd walked free were finally held accountable. I'm glad, I say, and I mean it. I saw the news last week, Teresa continues, about the final appeals being denied. I wanted to make sure you knew what you did mattered. You saved lives. Maybe mine. Definitely others. The Supreme Court denied Natalie's final appeal 7 days ago. 43 years became permanent. She'll die in federal prison. Emma asked me about it. I told her the truth like I always do now. Her mother made terrible choices. Hurt innocent people. Destroyed families. The consequences are permanent because the damage was permanent. Tyler doesn't ask much anymore. He barely remembers Natalie. Sometimes I catch him looking at old photos with confusion, like he's studying a stranger. How are your children? Teresa asks, as if reading my thoughts. They're good, resilient. We have family therapy twice a month. Emma's in honors classes. Tyler plays soccer and drives me crazy with his energy. I pause. They know the truth. Age-appropriate versions, but the truth. I won't lie to them about who their mother was. That must be hard. Everything about this has been hard. I take a sip of coffee. But they deserve honesty. They deserve to know that what happened wasn't their fault, wasn't my fault, wasn't even really about us. It was about choices Natalie made, choices that hurt a lot of people. Teresa nods slowly. My kids ask about their father sometimes. Why he's in prison. Why we had to leave our old house. I tell them the truth too. That sometimes people we love do terrible things, and there are consequences. We sit in comfortable silence for a moment. Two people connected by tragedy, rebuilding in the wreckage. I should go, Teresa says, checking her watch. Shift starts in 20 minutes, but I'm glad I ran into you. I've wanted to say thank you for 6 years. You don't need to thank me. You're the one who was brave enough to testify. You were brave enough to turn in your own wife. She stands, gathering her coffee. That's a different kind of courage. After she leaves, I sit alone with my case files and cold coffee, thinking about courage and consequences. Ethan Palmer testified against everyone in exchange for 25 years instead of life. He named 43 people involved in the conspiracy: defense attorneys, court clerks, 2 police officers, and 1 superior court judge who's now serving 15 years for obstruction of justice. The entire network collapsed like a house of cards. Natalie never cooperated, never showed remorse. At sentencing, she maintained she was just trying to help people navigate a broken system. The judge called her a predator who weaponized the trust of the most vulnerable and imposed the maximum sentence on every count. Her parents still write to me sometimes, asking to see Emma and Tyler. I let them visit twice a year, supervised. The kids are polite but distant. They know their grandparents still believe Natalie is innocent, still think I destroyed their daughter's life out of spite over an affair. Some people can't accept the truth even when it's documented in 47 audio recordings and 93 case files. I check my watch. 2 hours until Emma's parent-teacher conference. I should review the discovery for the Henderson case. No, different Henderson. I've been careful about names. But instead I pull out my phone and scroll to a folder I keep locked. Photos of Emma and Tyler from last weekend. Soccer game and dance recital. Happy kids with friends and futures, and no idea how close they came to growing up with a mother who destroyed lives for profit. Rebecca Torres never found her sister. Vanessa remains missing, one of 7 witnesses who disappeared completely. The FBI suspects homicide, but has never recovered bodies or identified who carried out the killings. Some questions don't have answers. My phone buzzes again. This time it's my attorney, the family law attorney I hired 6 years ago to handle the divorce. It was finalized 3 months after Natalie's arrest. She didn't contest it, didn't ask for custody or visitation, just signed the papers from her jail cell and never looked back. Final distribution of marital assets complete. Check will be mailed to your office. The house sold 2 years ago. I couldn't live there anymore. Couldn't walk past the kitchen table where Natalie counted cash from terrorized witnesses while I worked late trying to build a future for our family. We live in a smaller place now, near better schools. Emma has her own room. Tyler has his dinosaur posters and soccer trophies. We have Friday movie nights and Sunday pancakes, and a life built on honesty instead of secrets. It's not the life I planned, but it's real, and it's ours. I gather my files and head back to the office. There's work to do, kids to pick up, a parent-teacher conference where Emma's teacher will tell me she's thriving despite everything. Or maybe because of everything. Tragedy doesn't have to be destiny. Betrayal doesn't have to be permanent. Sometimes the hardest choice, turning in someone you love to protect people you'll never meet, is the only choice that lets you sleep at night. I learned that 6 years ago in a parking garage, staring at screenshots of my wife's crimes, choosing between loyalty and justice. I'd make the same choice today. Emma and Tyler deserve a father who teaches them that doing the right thing matters more than doing the easy thing. That integrity isn't negotiable. That when you see evil, you don't look away just because it shares your last name. The coffee shop door chimes behind me as I leave. Outside, the November afternoon is crisp and clear. 6 years ago, this same month, my life detonated. Today, it's just Thursday. Parent-teacher conferences and soccer practice and the ordinary chaos of raising 2 kids alone. I'll take ordinary. After everything, ordinary feels like grace. My phone buzzes one last time. Emma again. Love you, Dad. I text back immediately. Love you too, sweetheart. See you at 4. And I mean it. Every word, every day, every choice that brought us here. That's the real ending. Not the trial or the sentencing or the appeals. Just this. 2 kids who know the truth. A father who told it to them. And the quiet knowledge that sometimes justice and heartbreak are the same thing. Sometimes you save strangers by sacrificing everything familiar. And somehow, impossibly, you all survive.